Hello and welcome to another Trimble Execs Ask the Expert webinar by Correct Technical Support. My name is Khaleel Ahmed and I will be delivering the webinar with my fellow colleague Matthew Spencer. Matt will be monitoring any incoming questions during the webinar whilst I cover those already received. The mics are muted for all those attending, so please submit any questions arising during the webinar into the chat panel. The webinar will be recorded for catch-up reviewing. The webinar will cover RTK survey configuration using internal radios and an external radio for the base. We will endeavor to answer the questions received, and if we are unable to answer them today, we will address them in another webinar in the future. I will go through the slides first on the screen with Trimble Access screenshots on various settings for your survey, and then I will do a live demo with both the internal and external radios. If you got any questions, we'll make a note of those questions and try to answer them time permitting. So first I will start with the RTK survey within Trimble Access, how you can configure an RTK survey style using internal radios. Let's start with the Trimble Access homepage. The first thing that you will need to do is make sure that you got Bluetooth connections established in between your rover and base. You can see my laser pointer on the right hand side on the Bluetooth settings. If you do not know how to get the Bluetooth settings, you can go to settings on your Trimble Access, connect and Bluetooth. This will open a Bluetooth page on your Trimble Access. In our case, our rover is an R10 with a serial number ending 219, and our base is an R8S with a serial number ending 365. I accept that, and this will establish the Bluetooth connection in between my rover and the base. The next step will be to work on your service style. If you don't know where the service styles live, all you need to do is go to settings and then service styles. The screen on the right hand side give you the available service styles on my Trimble Access from a screenshot. You can see a number of service styles available. So we'll be working on the RTK service style for the internal radios in the first example. When you go to your service style on Trimble Access for your RTK service style, you'll be presented with a number of options. We'll be very much interested in the top 4 options, which is rover options, base options, rover data link, and base data link. So let's go through them one by one here. On the right hand side, you will see the rover options and base options. Let's see what are the most appropriate settings are available for our combination of receivers. If you look at the rover options, my survey type is an RTK, which is real-time kinematic. My broadcast format, if you look from the available options, is CMRX, which is a compact measurement record, which is a Trimble format used for Trimble receivers. CMRX and CMR Plus are available for Trimble receivers. CMRX will allow you to transmit more satellite signals compared to CMR Plus. So modern receivers like an R10 and R8S will work with CMRX. In our case, we'll be using CMRX for base and rover. So I've chosen CMRX, you can see here, and the CMRX from a base. There are other options available for your base options as well. If you're working in a scenario where you're working with multiple base, you can choose to have a station index so that you identify which base you need to connect to when you start receiving the VHF or UHF signals. Once you have configured your rover options and base options, then you can continue with your base radio configuration. Within the service style, you see that there's base data link and rover data link options available to configure the radios both for base and rover. In the screenshot below, you can see that I have chosen the type radio for my base, and the radio is a receiver internal. You can choose to have an external radio if you're working with an external radio. Similarly, you can choose to have a type of internet if you're working with GPRS and you have a fixed IP address for your base. Once you are happy with your settings with the receiver internal radio, you press connect at the bottom. It will establish a Bluetooth connection to your base and will allow you to configure your base radio. When you press connect, the next screen you will be presented with will be radio configuration for your base. There are a number of settings available on the right hand side. You can see from the service style. All you need to make sure that you make a note what setting you are using for your base. Okay, you will have to make sure that you're using the correct settings for your rover as well. Looking on the right hand screenshot, look, my radio operation mode is base from a base because we'll be working as a base. The frequency I have chosen from the given frequency spectra is 458.8000 MHz. I got the base radio mode set as Trim Talk version 1. I'm not using any repeater with my base. However, should you wish to use a repeater in an area where you are experiencing some sort of radio communication problem due to obstructions, you can use a repeater here. The next is the rover data link. You choose the type again, radio. Your radio is receiver internal. You press connect at the bottom here. The Trimble Access will establish a Bluetooth connection to your rover. Once it's established a Bluetooth connection, you can enter the radio configuration for your rover here. All you need to make sure again is making sure that your settings match those that of the base. For example, the frequency matches with that of the base. Similarly, the radio operating mode in my case will be rover, not base. The base radio mode should match with that of the base as well. I'm using Trim Talk version 1 at 9600 bps, which is set for both the rover and base. Once you're happy, you can press enter and accept, and this will configure and set your radio settings for both the rover and the base. Once you're happy with your service style, you save your service style and proceed to creating a new job to do your RTK survey. You go to Trimble Access General Survey and create a new job. Within the UK, you'll most probably be interested in using the local coordinate system, which is OSTN 15. If you're working elsewhere in the world, make sure you use the correct coordinate system from the available library. Once you've defined your coordinate system and once you have defined a job, you can proceed to General Survey. On the home page of Trimble Access, go to Instrument, and then within Instruments, go to GNSS Functions. When you tap on GNSS Functions, it will bring a screen on the right-hand side. Make sure you work with the base first. You click on Base Mode, and then we'll establish a Bluetooth connection to your base. Once a Bluetooth connection has been established and the base has been highlighted orange, you can click Start Survey. When you click Start Survey, you will be prompted with the base configuration screen, which is in the middle. All you need to do is enter a new base point for your base, or choose a one which is available from the list. Looking at this screen at the bottom, you can either have an autonomous position for your base by clicking at here, or you can manually key in precise coordinates if you have one. If you're using autonomous coordinates for your base, you will have to post-process your data in Trimble Business Center. Once you have started your base, you tap on the rover mode. The Trimble Access will again attempt a Bluetooth connection to your rover. Once a Bluetooth connection has been established and the rover mode goes orange, you can press Start Survey. The RTK survey will start, and you'll be given an option of the available base stations for the VHF communication. Choose the correct station with the index number and press Accept, and you will be able to carry on with your RTK survey. Lastly, if you're working with an external radio instead of an internal radio on a base, all you need to do is configure the base radio in your service style. So you go to Settings and your service styles, and you go to the RTK service style, and all you need to work with the base data link. You go and choose the type radio, and instead of using internal radio, you choose the external radio from the available list. In this example, I have chosen a Trimble TDL 450. You choose the receiver port and the baud rate, and you press Connect, and it will establish connection to the external radio. Once an external connection has been established to the radio, you can configure your frequency and the operating mode as you did for internal radio. You can see the settings which I have chosen for my external radio in the screenshot below. Once you're happy, you enter and accept and save your service style and it will configure your radio for the correct settings, and you will be able to use your external radio for the RTK survey. Now we will proceed with our live demo of an RTK survey using an internal radio and an external radio. I'll start my connection to the Trimble Access via cable so that you will be able to see that. Hopefully you see my screen and you can see my Trimble Access is on the screen now. This is what Trimble Access looks like with the home screen. So let's proceed with an RTK survey using internal radio. The first step I will do is go to the settings to make sure my Bluetooth settings are correct for the base and rover. I go to connect, I go to Bluetooth, and this will give me the Bluetooth options. At the moment I'm using an R10 as a rover with a serial number ending 219. And I'm using a base, an R8S, with the serial number ending 365, and they are being set up on the roof at the moment. I press accept once I'm happy with my Bluetooth connections. The next thing to do is to work on your service style, as we talked through in the presentation. Tap on the service style, and that will open the available service styles on your Trimble Access. Let's work on RTK service style first using internal radios. I tap on RTK service style and will open a new screen with the available options. You will mainly be working with the first four options, which is rover options, rover data link, base options, and base data link. Let's go through them one by one. Let's go through the rover options first. On this screen, my survey type is RTK. Should you wish to choose another survey style, you can do so. You have the option of using an RTK infill, which allow you to post-process your data in case you have lost a radio connection to your base. You can also do RTK unlogging, where your base will be logging data at the same time, and you can post-process your base. In my example, I'll be choosing an RTK service style. Click on the broadcast format and choose the appropriate one for your receiver. Because I'm using an R8S, which is compatible with CMRX, which is a compact measurement record for Trimble receivers, I can choose CMRX because it will get more signals transmitted through the satellites. However, if you're working with third-party receivers, like your base is Topcon or Leica, for example, you can use RTCM, RTK. Don't confuse these broadcast formats with the VRS RTCM and VRS CMR, which are primarily for the network RTK. Let's choose CMRX in this case. My rover is an R10, so I have chosen the correct antenna. I've entered the antenna height to the bottom of quick release here. You can click on the other settings and make sure you have the correct settings in there. By default, the elevation mask has been set to 10 degrees and the pitot mask has been set to 6. And you can enable what satellite signal you want to track depending on your receiver capabilities. Once happy, you press accept. Let's work on base options now and make sure that we have the correct settings for our base as well. Just like our rover, the survey type for the base is RTK. The broadcast is also CMRX, which matches that of the rover. My base is an R8S internal. I measure the antenna height to the bottom of antenna mount. Similarly, you can go through the settings for that one as well. The station index for my base is 10. Elevation mask is 10 degrees. And the signal tracking is enabled for Galileo and GLONASS. Press accept once you're happy with your settings. The next thing that we'll be working on is the base radio settings, which is quite crucial. Tap on base data link. In the first example, we'll be using receiver internal, so press connect. It's going to connect to the radio by using the internal radio of the R8S. Once a connection has been established, you need to make sure the settings are correct. You can look here, the radio operating mode is set to rover. It should be used as a base. I'm not using any repeater, so I'm choosing none. My frequency at the moment from the given spectra is 458.8000, which is right at the bottom. You can choose the correct one, making sure there is no interference to anyone else working in the area on the same frequency. My base radio mode is Trim Talk version 1 at 9600. Once I'm happy with my settings for the base, I press enter and we'll set all the radio settings. Press accept. Type is radio. Radio is receiver internal. Click on rover, it will establish a Bluetooth connection to the rover. It might take 10-20 seconds to establish a Bluetooth connection. Once a Bluetooth connection has been established, press connect. It's connecting to the internal radio on my R10. Making sure the radio operating mode is correct one. Click on rover. Choose the frequency 458.80 MHz, which match that of the base. Choose the base radio mode, Trim Talk version 1, as we chose for the base. Press enter and we'll set the radio. Press accept and store your service style. Now that your service style has been saved, you can use this service style to do an RTK survey. Click on the top left corner on the Trimble logo and go to the Trimble Access homepage. Go to General Survey. Jobs and create a new job. I'm going to give it a name, RTK 11th of October. Now you can choose the correct template for your coordinate system. I'm going to choose OS 3 and 15 in the UK. Once you're happy with the rest of the settings, press accept. It will create your job with the correct coordinate system. Go to the instrument and then go to GNSS functions. I'll click on base mode. It will establish a Bluetooth connection to the base. Once a Bluetooth connection has been established, you can see that the base mode has gone orange. Click Start Survey and we'll start this survey for the base using the correct service style. We were working previously on the RTK service style for the internal communication. So I choose the correct service style, RTK. You'll be prompted with the Start Base window. This is where you have the option to key in either precise coordinates or choose from the list if you have got one. In my case, I'm going to call it base. Unfortunately, we have encountered some error. Let's start that again. It will establish the Bluetooth connection once more. Okay, we are experiencing communication error. What I'll do is I close down Trimble Access and reboot it. Shouldn't take long. Starting Trimble Access once more. Not sure what's gone wrong. Looks like maybe the Bluetooth connection, but the receiver are both working. I'm looking through the window and both the lights are flashing. Let's try once more. Let's go to Journal Survey. Tap on the instrument. Click on GNSS functions. Base mode is selected. Click Start Survey. Choose the survey style RTK. You can choose one from the list, or you can key in one. I call it base. I don't have precise coordinates, so I click here. It will populate the coordinates for the easting and northing. Because I'm using the autonomous position, I will have to post-process this data in TBC. Click Store and we'll create the base point. Station index is 10, antenna height is 1.50. I click Start and we'll start the base. Press OK to that. Now your base has started. Tap on rover. It will establish a Bluetooth connection to your rover. Once a Bluetooth connection has been established to the rover, you can click Start Survey. Choose the correct survey style, which is RTK. You can see the station index 10 for your base and the reliability of the reception. Click Accept and we start receiving corrections from your base via UHF or VHF method. Once it's receiving corrections from the base via VHF, your solution will go from float differential to float and from float to the fixed, as you can see with the green tick. And you can carry on with your survey as normal with the measurement of your points. This finishes the first example of internal radius. Now we'll go to another example. We will set up another Bluetooth connection with external radio. What I'll do is I'll close this survey. Sorry, should I press End Survey? It's ending my survey. I don't want my receiver to power down. I'm going to exit Journal Survey. Press yes to that. I have already established a Bluetooth connection, so I don't have to go through the same settings again. However, I need to modify my survey style for external radio. Tap on Settings, go to Survey Styles. I have already created a survey style, RTK External. Let's go to the settings for that survey style. Click RTK External. You will be presented with the same options as you had for your RTK survey style for the internal radio. We do not need to change any other settings except that of base data link, because our base is connected to an external radio. Tap on base data link. The type is radio. You have the option to choose internet should you wish to work with GPRS. My radio from the list is TDL 450. My serial port is port 1, baud rate is 9600. I click base. It's going to make a Bluetooth connection to the base. Once a Bluetooth connection has been established to the base, press connect. Because my base is already transmitting from the internal radio, it's asking the message to start the transmission first. I click yes to that message. It's going to connect to the external radio this time. Once a connection has been established to the external radio, you will be presented with the radio configuration screen. You need to make sure all your settings are correct. My frequency from the channel is 458.800 MHz. Radio operating mode will be base/rover. Base radio mode will be Trimble version 1 and 9600. Sensitivity set to medium. However, you can set it to low if you like for your base. Press enter and it will set the radio configuration for your base. Press accept. Now your base has been set with the radio configuration settings. Now you need to make sure your rover radio has been set with the same settings as the base. Click on rover data link and then connect to the rover via Bluetooth. Once the connection has been established, you can enter the radio configuration screen. For the rover, we are using the internal radio. Press connect. It's connecting to the rover internal radio, and you'll be presented with the radio configuration screen. The radio operating mode will be rover. Our frequency again is 458.800, which matches with that of base. The base radio mode is Trimble version 1 and 9600, which is the same for the base as well. Press enter. It will set the radio for your rover. Press accept, and all your settings have been saved. Once you're happy with your settings, press store. Now that you have made a new survey style for the external radio, you can carry on with the journal survey. Go to the Trimble Access homepage, go to Journal Survey, go to Jobs, create a new job. I call it RTK External. I'm using the same coordinate system as before, OSTN 15. Press enter. And then press accept. There seems to be some latency between my logger and the screen. I apologize for that. Okay, once you have created your job, RTK External, you can tap on the instrument once more. Go to GNSS functions like before. Go to the base mode. It will establish a Bluetooth connection to the base. Once a Bluetooth connection has been established, click Start Survey. This time, we'll be using the survey style RTK External. You'll be prompted with the same Start Base screen where you have to enter the base point. If you got it in the list, you can choose it from the list, or alternately, you can key in. Going to call my base point as base. I don't have precise coordinates, so I'm going to click here. It will populate the screen with the autonomous coordinates from the standard solution, which I will need to post-process in TBC. Click Store, and your base point has been stored. Antenna height is 1 meter to the bottom of antenna mount. This time I'm using a station index of 20. Click Start and we'll start the base. The base has been started. Press OK to that. Click on rover mode. It will connect to the rover via the Bluetooth. Once a Bluetooth connection has been established to the rover, click Start Survey. Choose the Arctic external survey style. You will see that you are prompted with 2 indexes. In our case, it's 20. 8 is probably our SPS base running at the office. So I choose the correct index for my base, 20, and click Accept. You can see that the solution has gone from differential to the fixed with a green tick. Once you have initialized, you can carry on with your survey by measuring points. This ends the session for the internal and external live demo. I click End Survey. This will end the survey. I'll close my Trimble Access. Now we go back to the presentation again, where we got a few questions which we can answer. We received a question about Trimble Access, how you can upgrade a job version. There are many instances where you have a job which has been created on an older version of Trimble Access on an older logger, and you want to bring it to a new logger or new Trimble Access on your Trimble Access. Now there are a couple of ways you can do that. You can either go to mytrimbleaccess.com, or within TVC there is a link for Trimble Access services which you can click. In both instances, you will be able to upgrade your job. The only difference is, if you choose mytrimbleaccess.com, which is on the right hand side this screen, you will be able to upgrade multiple job files at one time. If you use the link from the Trimble Business Center, which is on the right hand side, you can only upgrade one job at a time. I can quickly show you both these links on my computer. This is the link from mytrimbleaccess.com. Once the link is open, on the right hand side you see a small window navigate to. Click on the drop down arrow and there's an option called Server Tools. When you go to Server Tools, there's an option in there, File Conversion. Tap on File Conversion, and then you can select your jobs, multiple jobs at one time, and you can convert them by pressing Next. This is the link from the Trimble Business Center, which allows you to upgrade one file. Let's proceed to the next question now. We received another question where someone asked how to view the real-time easting, northing, and elevation in the map view. This is possible, however, the exception is this is only possible with the newer version of Trimble Access on bigger controllers like TSC7. Looking on the right-hand side, there are a couple of screenshots which I have taken from Trimble Access 2018 from TSC7. Once you're in the measure screen, you can click on the arrow where my laser pointer is pointing at, and then you can go to the options. Choose the option measure display to be grid and tick view before storage. Accept that, and then as long as you're in the tracking mode with your instrument, you will be able to see your live easting and northing at the bottom. Okay, we received another question. How to measure chords within Trimble Access. This is pretty straightforward. Once you got an established connection to your instrument or your receiver, you go to measure and measure chords. I'll turn my laser pointer on. On the right hand side, when you go to measure chords screen, you can see there's an add group option. Tap on that and this will add a group for your measured points. Click on the arrow pointing upwards and go to the options. Make sure prompt for attribute is ticked so that you're prompted for your code. Choose the exact proper string suffix you want. For example, for 01, if you got fence, it will automatically jump to fence 01 if you click on plus. Choose the code from your library and assign it to the button. I can quickly do a demo on that one for you from my emulator. This is my emulator on my computer. I've got a connection established to an instrument on my emulator. Go to measure codes. You can click on add group and give it a name. Let's say test. Press OK. If you click on the options, this is where you have all your settings for your codes. I'll be using the suffix 01. Prompt for attribute is ticked, and I'm using 4x4 layout. Press accept. This will open a 4x4 layout, as you can see that. Tap and hold, that will take you to the library. Choose the code that you want to add and press enter. And in this way, in this way you can add your codes and measure them. Let's see if we got any more questions received. Okay, we have just received another question. When would you use an external radio to an internal radio? You would prefer an external radio in cases where you want better reliability and longer range. In addition, you can configure the external radio from the panel, and you can use it as a repeater as well, should you wish to do that. That ends today's webinar with all these questions and answers. I hope that you have enjoyed this webinar, and we'll be back with you with another webinar in the next month or so. Thank you.